Okay, I think we're live. So uh, we're still 5 minutes early, and we will hang out for about 5 minutes before we really start talking about some of the things we're here to talk about tonight. Um, it's a little unusual to be out here. This is my brother's house. This is Hyperkiller's house. Couldn't set up where we normally set up because my internet is down. If you guys were here last week, you guys noticed there was a bunch of weird stuff that was happening. Still pretty good show, but a lot of weird things happening. So we're gonna give it a little bit of time. Get everybody come on. We got like 9 people right now. So right now, like I said, if your first time here, this is Out of Work Outdoors, and what we do is Tuesday nights we talk about anything you want to talk about, anything fishing related, whatever the hot topic is. Talk about that, and then on Thursdays we talk strikers, hybrids, and white bass. So this today we're talking performance lures and things like that. Basically, it's our own lures. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about what to be expected, that type of thing. So, like I said, if you have any questions or if you want us to answer any questions fishing related, stripers, bass, kayaks, boats, electronics, mega lives, anything really, put them in the comments, give me a thumbs up, and we'll answer those. Suki, what's good? What's good, bro? I haven't talked to you in a while. We talked to you online, but we haven't seen you in real life. So what's good? We went to Lower Illinois this past weekend. We tried to catch stripers, and then we tried to catch stripers by catching trout, and then using it for stripers. But I don't know. I just didn't want to play that day. Caught everything but stripers. Everything but stripers. Tell us how you like your live sonar. We will actually do an entire video on that, but if I had to just say something really quick about the live sonar type stuff, if you're coming into the world of fishing and you're a little confused about electronics and how to properly set them up and what everything even means, but you have the money to afford the live, just go ahead and buy the live. It's that good. And once you have, even with default setups, it's pretty good already. And you'll definitely catch fish. Like that's the crazy part. Like the learning curve between you buying electronics and catching fish is like that big. Every other technology is probably like that big. So the live is really good. Right now, I think definitely Garmin. If you're starting from zero, definitely Garmin Live is just probably the best one. Even though I'm a big Humminbird user, I have to tell you guys that. That's what I believe too. Garmin's definitely number one. Lowrance and Humminbird are right there. Okay, so if you are already on one of those other units and you don't want to do the Hummin, you don't want to go to the Garmin just because it's just too much money, then just go pick up your active target or your Mega Live. I think it'll be just fine too, because it's the difference between not having that technology and actually having the technology that you can see forward. And a lot of times, what me and Hybrid Killer have been debating a lot is with the live technology. A lot of people keep saying it's not as clear, it's blind spots, things like that. But I think that's to me that's just the people that are not very good at fishing. That's what they would tell you. The real seasoned guys, and you don't hear anybody complaining about this on the Elite Series or anything like that, about little blind spots, because if the fish is going to hit your bait, you will feel it. You don't need to see it. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So you don't lose track of everything you've learned up until this point, and don't just rely on this new technology to catch fish, because there's still ways to catch them without seeing them. Like for example, if the baits, if especially right now in the wintertime, some fish suspend and you can see them very well, but some just sit on the bottom. If you pan this thing over, you may or may not even see them on a what is like a good looking area because they're so tight to the bottom. But if you just decide to throw something out there and then watch live, then you can actually see fish chasing the bait. So you know, just make sure you're pretty well versed in like your fundamentals, and then get this thing, or you go the other way around, buy it and then work on your fundamentals. But I think if you go from fundamentals to live, you're instantly going to see a big jump. Like where you're at, you'll see a jump. If you're not good at fishing and you buy live, you'll see a jump too. But then you're going to have to work on fundamentals, things like even fish behavior and things like that, which I feel, it's give or take. If you're not in a tournament situation, I think you'll be fine. If you're in a tournament situation, I don't think the live will help you out too much. I think it'll confuse you more than anything. Mm. What's the difference between a high-end casting lure and a mid-range casting lure? That question is going to be basically so high end meaning over 300, mid range meaning from about 250 300. That to me is basically where most of your casting reels are going to be at. If you're chasing like super smooth and lightweight, okay. Super smooth at 250, they're pretty much going to be, that's the top upper end of just the smooth category. You might get another variant or two, but after about the $250 mark, it goes into exotic materials, where it goes into like spools that are real shallow, so you can throw real light baits. And that's where it's at. We're gonna be doing a review on that. We have so many D's reels, Daiwas D's reels. We have like 5 or 6 of them right now, and on those reels, we actually don't throw your traditional baits. We throw the little small baits. Okay, and that's one other thing. The high end reels, they cater to a very specific thing. Where the mid range reels, they kind of have to be everything. Hmm. Yep. The Mega Live versus all the other things. The reason why we went with the Mega Live versus the other scopes that are on the market is simply because of cost. We're already running the Humminbird product, so to just buy 1,500 into it instead of spending 2,000 more for 2,000, it was just better. It was made basically a financial choice. Do we like it? Yeah, it's pretty good. Don't get me wrong. It's with below 20 feet forward and 20 feet, down. It's pretty good. We were playing with it on the Arkansas River in this submerged tree, and then we can see the fins of the fish and everything. It's not that good. It is that good. It's just like I say, it still needs a little help. I think all of them need a little help. Um, they're not too far behind from the garments. But the flip side is we have everything else on the Humminbird side that we're so used to already, like our trolling motors network, our 4 units or 3 units, going to be 4 units all network. So we really like that already. We didn't want to change the entire system to go get just another unit that we're not too familiar with. So it's okay for us. We do like it. The video that dropped on Saturday, we caught all them hybrids. We didn't catch them on the screen like you typically would see in live scope videos, but what live scope does is it basically opens up your eyes. Okay, so there's spots on that river where we would usually run right past. Like I'm not even kidding you, I've fished that river maybe 10 years now, and the scope revealed areas that the fish were staging on that we never really paid too much attention to. So with that being said, it doesn't change. It didn't change us. Put it that way. It didn't change us at all. It changed the locations where we fished. So you still took the skills that we had and used it on a certain spot. So what I mean by that is you can fish a certain location without really looking at the fish, and you think they're still there, but in reality they might have moved. Okay, so you're still making blind casts. With the live technology, regardless how clear it is, you have to get it through your mind. All the guys that are watching this is you're there to look for fish, and you can tell what kind of fish these fishes are too, just by how many fish there are, the size there are, how they react to your baits, and things like that. So in the video, we didn't really pan like too much to the live, but I can tell you all those fish were caught in areas that we were live scoping, and we said, well, there's a lot of fish there, or there's a bunch of stumps over there. Yeah, did you ever know there's a big channel through there? Like all those situations that like we just didn't know about before, but now we can actually see. So now we see, we basically use our own, fish knowledge on those areas, and I feel like some of those areas, like you guys saw it, we were fishing a bridge. It's a community hole. That bridge gets hit all the time with live bait, and when we got there, the bridge only put out like two. Yeah, like two, right? And we saw a bunch of crappie on it, and all the crappie got. Right? So if we didn't have the live, we would probably just be fishing with two pilings all the time. But since we saw and we can see that there's nothing there and we left, then we started looking elsewhere. And I think that's the main reason for it. But I think a lot of people want to talk to you and tell you that you're wasting time or you're using it to find productive areas. So I'm assuming you could find bait very well with it. We haven't seen too much bait yet. We haven't been on the lakeside. The rivers that we've been to, the lakes have been, well, the rivers have been pretty dead. So when you see a return of some type, it's usually crappie. Like he actually caught one doing the typical live in only like 10 foot of water. There's a bunch of stumps, and you drop your crappie jig down there. You can see the crappie come up to it, and then they'll run off. Well, he had one that came up, and he was just jigging it. But I didn't put that in the video because it was actually a hybrid video instead of a crappie video. So that one didn't never make it. Any luck on hotspots in Oklahoma? Yeah, you just said it. That was a hotspot in Oklahoma. So yeah, all the Oklahoma hotspots are gonna start firing up right now. So if you're looking for white bass, or if you're looking for stripers, all the dams should be hot. Right?
Yeah, people strip that Keystone River.
Yep. Yep. So, all right. So it's already like 5 minutes in. I think that's pretty much it for right now for in terms of open topics. We're gonna get started with the reason why we're here tonight, and that is basically we're here because we're gonna introduce. I think if you guys have been here before, you guys know we've been flashing a whole bunch of lures at you, and this is just gonna be the official, like, we're offering something. And before it was kind of like dangling, and maybe you guys liked it, maybe you didn't, but tonight is gonna be the official. We're introducing a project, more or less a project that we are gonna be building. And this is not just because of us. This is because a lot of our fans have been saying, look, you talk about these baits all the time. You recommend stuff that we can't even buy. Why aren't you guys building these and selling? Over the past 5 or 6 years, we've been hearing that a lot. So we've decided, 2022, let's do it. So 2022, we're going to be building limited like amounts, depending on if you guys want them or not. But we've already flashed up the clear rig, and you've already seen that in the last 2 or 3 videos. About basically, we have an umbrella rig, and it looks like this. This is the umbrella rig. Looks like that. This is the one with no blades on it. Looks just like that. It's clear. It's built out of fishing line, basically. We needed something like this because there wasn't something out there like it because everything that you can buy right now, the arms either keep breaking or something always happens to them, right? So after that being a problem for so many years, and on top of that, whatever's available right now is pretty heavy. So we wanted something light, and we came up with that through pure necessity because I wanted it. And the way the story goes is I'm not a big A-rig guy. He's a big A-rig guy. My other brother is a big A-rig guy for stripers and everything, right? But I said I would never throw it because I could never get over the idea of. I wish I had an actual A-rig here too. The all metal construction, like this whole thing, instead of being fluorocarbon, would be all metal. And in my mind, I'm thinking fish is not going to bite that, or it's just a phase. Fish will get over it, and they did. So you got to thinking one day, you're thinking, okay, swim baits and a spinner bait, there's no way that's going to work. Because, like people always say, the spinner bait, you throw it in dirty water, the swim bait, you throw it in clean water. So, how does a spinner bait and a swim bait come together and become this umbrella rig and it works? Well, it'll only work to a certain amount and then it will stop working. So, I was thinking, well, the swim bait's so good, and we both throw swim baits. So instead of throwing one swim bait, why don't we throw 5 swim baits? So that's when I was thinking, hey, why don't we create something that's really clear that will basically allow you to throw 5 swim baits at the same time, and the fish can't come up to it and say that's very fake, that's not a real thing. So we started talking about he actually bought the materials, he built it, and that's what basically this is version like 10 already. Yeah, so it's been through a lot of testing and tuning for the past 2 years. The local guys have seen this before. We've actually gave some out to the local guys to test out. But this is basically the final version. This is the medium size.
Yeah.
So this is the standard. We just call it the standard size. This is designed for your smaller to medium swim baits, your 3-inch to 4-inch swim baits, and that's all you want because the arm is it's a flexible arm. It's flexible. It's not metal, so it doesn't bend to any shape you want. Kind of holds that. But the key part of this is when you're pulling this with a whole bunch of swim baits or whatever you want to put on there, all the arms move on their own. Like the rig doesn't force everything to stay open. So when you pull this through the water, we got a video coming out on this too. The rig pulls the baits very, very natural, and it doesn't really stop here. So this is the medium rig, and I won a lot of money on this already. And our buddy too caught a big bass. I think he caught a big bass, right? The BLK?
Yeah.
The Hobby Boss tournament. So it's been proven on the tournament trails to an extent. And then we thought, well, this one's great for say white bass and for just traditional bass. But
not trophy chasing.
But it's not that good for like a 5+ pound bass. It's like it starts to get to the point where you need a bigger rig, right? So he thought of that too. Okay, so in the last 2 videos that you have been seeing, the one where we caught the stripers, and I was comparing it to the regular A rig, and the one we just released on Saturday, we've done the XL. This is the extra large.
Yeah, because the now your arms, they're stiffer.
Everything's beefed up.
Yeah, everything's beefed up on it. So this will hold bigger fish, hold bigger swim bait. So when you throw the rig out, the rig will stay in flow mode a little more, and all your rig will run even more farther apart. Mm-hmm. And you could probably burn this through the water with it still open. Well, that one, when you burn it, it kind of wants to close.
Right.
And this is built to throw like those 5-inch swim baits.
So that's the 4 to 5 to maybe 6. Even the 6. Yeah. The reason why there's different thicknesses in the wire is because the smaller one, you got to think about the whole idea of this rig is to be stealthy, right? To be clear in the water. That's why fluorocarbon was even picked. This is basically the top of the line umbrella rig you can get. Fluorocarbon, it disappears. It got to the point where I was even telling my brother, he was just going to put the traditional swivels and everything on it. And I said, no, hold on. That's not exactly what I had in my mind. So I wanted minimal everything, right? So all we did, the only thing we got is just a crimp and then a swim on it. That's it. And then you will put your split ring on it, and then you put your hook on it, and that's it. So when you dress it out, the only thing you see in front of the bait is just like a half inch of metal, and it's even low profile metal, and that's it. So you throw this in the water, and you start pulling it through the water. It looks real good. It looks really really good. And we didn't stop there, right? So we had that to play with. We played with that for about a year, and then Hybrid instructor kept smashing it. So we had the need to go build an XL version, which we have, and we've already demonstrated, the past two videos it works. But on top of that, we've already shown you guys this one, or a simpler version of this one.
Four stack.
This is the quad pack, basically. If you guys are true fans, in the video from last spring when we was fishing for hybrids, I threw that and I caught a hybrid. It had like 9 baits on it. Okay, and the crazy part is even when you get to this size, it's not made out of metal, so it's still pretty light. So you can still cast it on your traditional rods and reels. You don't need a true like swim bait rod or a rig rod to do it. Especially on this one. This one you can throw it on your like 7-foot ring. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. So this is actually like, you probably won't throw this, but I'll throw it anyways. But this is a trolling rig. Like this is a true trolling rig. So those ideas are there, but more than likely, the double decker is probably going to be the most popular one. I feel like I'm going to throw this one quite a bit, the double decker. So those are just some of the things that we're playing with right now. This one's available for sale for all the guys that want one. And what price that you were looking for?
These are 35 with no blade. I'm currently out of the one with blades, but with the one that comes with blades are $45. And these are just the regular size.
So for each size, you have a choice too, like the standard, bladed, non-bladed. The XL, bladed, non-bladed.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to switch the blades out too, because some of the last couple trips we've been on, with the smaller blades in really murky water, it felt like it just didn't have enough pump, right? So he actually changed 2 blades out to 2 spinnerbait blades, 2 number 4s, and it seemed like it worked pretty good in dingy water. So don't be afraid to do that. So that's our clear rigs, right? And we're going to be building those. Like I said, we're not building them really to order too much. So if you want to be on the list, you can message us. We may or may not put you on the list depending on how much work we got going. But we're doing drops. So if you guys have been paying attention, last Tuesday we announced that we were dropping a batch, right? And we only have about 5 left. Yeah, so we sold about 25 in 2 days. For the most part, they were spoken for in 2 days. And you really think about it, every one of them was spoken for. Some people just didn't end up paying for it. So there is some kind of a demand for it. Okay, so we still got some left. We got the XL batch coming out pretty soon, and we're gonna be dropping that pretty soon too. Okay, the XL batch. We're gonna be dropping that pretty soon. So hang on to the end of the video, and we're actually doing a promotion on that right now. So just hang out to the end of the video, and we'll tell you how you can save a little money on that. But so that's like the first thing we want to announce is we're doing the clear rigs. Okay, and it's the perfect season for it. A lot of the bass guys are still throwing umbrella rigs. Like I said, depending on what you want, depending on how clear the water is, you might want to pick either the standard version or the XL version. All the other ones are still kind of like work in process right now. So that's kind of where it's at. We've also this channel was built on top waters. So a lot of people have been asking about like high performance, super long cast in top waters, top water baits. So I wish Hybrid Killer was here when 47 was here too, so he could talk about that because that's kind of his project. It's going to be his project because he is really good at that stuff. He's been building them for I don't know 3, 4, 5 years now. So He knows exactly. Okay, this if you got this rod with this line, if you want to cast 130 yards, you need to throw this lure weighing exactly this. Because if it's too heavy, it's not going to go too far. If it's too light, it's not going to go too far. This is the sweet spot. And I feel like we're going to introduce two of those. So there's going to be like, there's going to be one that when you throw out, it won't go 120. It'll probably go like 80. But that one, it'll stay on the surface a little bit. Okay. And then there's the full, like, I just want to go 125. And it'll sink, but at least it'll get your bait out there so you'll get a shot at catching something.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that lure being born is because of that reason. Like for all the dam guys, for all the land-based guys, because that lure is for the land-based guys. The clear rig is kind of boat guys for the most part. But the top water one, that's for all the land-based guys. There's been too many times where you've gone out there and you just see the blitz, like striper blitz, white bass blitz, sometimes even smallmouth blitz, just out there. You can't get to them, you know? So you need something that just allows you to get out there. And then you can always dress it with a bucktail or something. We call it the Oklahoma killer rig. Or you can dress it with that, and as you're pulling it back, they might attack the bucktail. And that's a really good option as well. So that's the top water, and more than likely that's going to be a pencil popper style, like a 6-inch, a 5.5-inch, a 6-inch pencil popper, because that's what's popular in our area, and at least in the Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas area. Most of our forage is just basically redfish shark, mm-hmm. So that one kind of matches everything very well. It's a little bit bigger, so it will allow you to cast a little farther, and it'll target the slightly bigger stripers, which is I think what most of us want anyways. And watch out for that. We don't have any of that built yet, but that's our plans. We're planning on something like that, and then we're also planning on a clear spinnerbait. I know this kind of targets the bass guys again, but at the same time, that's why this thing was born, is because basically this thing is a glorified spinnerbait. And when you're talking spinnerbaits, I don't throw spinnerbaits. So I don't throw because they look really funky to me. When I look at that bait, it's like, why would a bastard bite this? You know? But when I look at a swim bait, I'm like, oh yeah, they're definitely gonna bite that, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, okay, do the same concept, make it clear, and they should bite it. Okay, and the crazy part about spinnerbaits is that once again, you're supposed to throw it in dingier to muddy water, right? You're not supposed to throw it in clear water. This bait should satisfy the clear water guys, is what I'm thinking. So that's still coming down the pipe. But I just want to tell you guys that we're working on something like that. And on top of that, we're also doing the long range bobber. We have a pretty popular video about how to, what is it? Long range. It's actually called long range bobber, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people keep messaging us about where to buy them and stuff like that. So we're actually probably, fingers crossed, we're probably going to make our own long range bobber as a kit too. So there'll be a bobber with the swivels, probably with a fluke and a hook or something like that, which is really, really popular. So you can buy it and just go out and use it. And it should work on all the dams too. So that's kind of what we got going on right now. You have any add to that? Like, show you?
Not really. I do have a few rigs about to drop.
Oh yeah.
So I got the XLs ready to drop soon. So you guys gotta stay tuned. And this is the one without blade, and this is the one with blade.
How much do we weigh? I don't know. I never weighed it. Probably like a quarter ounce, not even the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's pretty light. Yeah. I mean, it's just fishing line. But yeah, those are probably gonna drop sometime this week. So stay tuned.
Yep. Mark D, you're right. 47 did do a video on top water lures, how to load them up and things like that. But we're gonna basically say this is 5 to 10 years of building experience in these lures, and people have been asking about them, so here they are. Yeah, that's gonna be a 47 project. And a lot of people have been asking us about whether you want to run treble hooks on it or whether you want to run those they call them inline hooks. There's probably going to be an option for what you want. We're probably going to even offer them without hooks. So with hooks is another say $2. Without hooks, it'll just be whatever the price of it might be.
The clear rig doesn't really. I mean, just the center will, after time, it will kind of turn yellow like this one. This is one of my earlier batch. Still pretty clear. It will still catch fish. It's just the materials I use over time they get oxidized and they turn yellow. And sometimes when I pour these epoxy, if it's super clear, they take super long to dry. So I have a hardener that's like a yellow tint. So sometimes when I pour it, I put a little too much yellow hardener in it, so it turns yellow.
Mm-hmm.
But like this one is super clear.
But if you look at the difference between that, a little yellow tint versus a jig head that's solid lead, and then like 6 or 7 metal black arms coming out of it, this is night and day difference. It's not even close when you put it in the water. When you put it in the water and you're moving it along, it looks completely different. It looks pretty natural too. And when you're pulling the bait and you're twitching it, it's all moving in all directions. Because if you're an A-rig thrower, you'll know that the metal frame is very rigid, right? So when one bait moves, all the other 4 might move with it. But on this one, when one bait moves, it's moving by itself. The other ones tend to not dance with it. So it's very natural, that was something that I was really looking at doing, and we were able to do it very, very well. And a lot of our friends are throwing it right now too. So they're. Did you saw one guy that went to Texas home this weekend?
Yeah, so I sold some to my buddy, and they went down to Texas home, and they caught it on the double rig because I wanted him to try out.
Yeah, we had some guys testing double rigs too.
Yeah, because they're gonna go death stick some fluke. So I'm like, oh, just go throw it A-rigs. So he caught one on his double rigs that I sold him. Yeah. And I mean, I have people test and tune them for me too because I don't have that time to test and tune.
These are different opinions, So we got a lot of guys that are pretty good that fish the kayak trails with us. The guys that just strictly do bass fishing, and we got guys that strictly. We were testing pretty hard, just striper stuff, and then we got a lot of good feedback.
I mean, I need guys to like set the hook like normal and then like force the fish in like normal. And like I don't tell them anything. Like just go out, throw it, and I always want to see what happens, And some of those guys, they set the hook as hard as they can, like normal. They fight the fish in without even giving any drag. Mm-hmm. So I want to see if the rig will give, or I don't tell them like, hey, we gotta baby it or anything. So I just want to see how it withstands. I mean, different guys fish different too. So I just want to see. I just want to get some feedbacks too.
Mm-hmm. And on top of that, we've got a lot of questions of like, this is pretty expensive, so what do you throw it on? Some guys say throw it on braid because they don't want to lose it, right? But I keep telling people that's kind of going back one step because the whole point of doing this is to get everything clear. Like everything has to be clear. That's the whole reason why we went to the extremes of making everything so small. That's why we went to the extremes of. Okay, so look at this, right? This, there's no reason that we can't have a clear, we can't have a clear swivel, otherwise you put it there. But the stops that prevents the blades from sliding back and forth, even that's clear. In the original version, that wasn't. So we've took it to the extremes to make this as clear as possible. So when you present this to a bait that's seen a million other baits, he hasn't seen this yet. So do yourself a favor, throw it on big fluorocarbon line. I recommend at least 20-pound fluorocarbon, or if you're a high end guy, probably 25 is probably the best size for it, 25. But I went the cheap route and I thrown it on 30-pound mono, and it works just as good too. So in the video, because we were all doing that. If you guys were paying attention in the video we just dropped on Saturday, he was throwing it on fluorocarbon. I was throwing it on mono, and 47 was throwing it on braid. Yeah, so it's all over the place, right? But it worked. But if you pay attention, 47 was missing a lot of fish. Like he was cussing himself out, like, why are they not hooking up? Why are they not hooking up? Why are they not hooking up? I think it has something to do with the brain. I really do. Because we're throwing into the same area. So the river we're in is real small. If you cast really hard, you could probably throw across the river. The river is fairly small, and he was catching on. Like, your hook ratio was really good, right? Like 90%. And my hook ratio was probably like 85%, and 47 was like 30%.
Well, when you're on braid, I guess it's just too sensitive, so you can feel every little bump, every little bite, every little vibration. So you're setting the hook too quick. That's what I was telling 47. It's like you're just setting too quick. You gotta let the rod load. As soon as they like tap it, he will set the hook already.
Okay, Mr. Chop, that is the secret. That is the secret. So you picked up. You're a good fisherman if you knew that, right? What I've been doing. Okay, so I haven't been telling a lot of people. So for the 13 people that are watching right now, this is the gem of all gems, right? Take one of these. Take one of these, right? You rig it weightless around, all weightless, and you rig it the bottom with 3/4 ounce, right? And if you're in a clear lake, it works even better. You go in the wintertime, you know, fish are suspended 40, 50 foot deep. You just basically drop this on there and you just hold it right there. You just kind of do this. And that's it. I've caught so many big bass. I won an online tournament doing it. Yeah. Like three of the five fish I weighed in the entire tournament was doing that. And he was throwing it and chucking it everywhere, and I was just paddling around. And, oh, there's fish! And dropping straight on. So we were basically I called it dropping A-rings, right? The dropping rings, and I caught them like that. I caught a 22 and a half, 21 and a half, and like a 18, 19 incher. So we only went out there like three days, right?
3 or 4 trips. Yeah. But we didn't learn that trick on the first day. We were coming back and learned it. Like, hey, let's just drop them.
Yeah, because you think about it, it's a supercharged Demiki rig. You know, you can like
5 Demiki rigs.
Yeah, 5 Demiki rigs at the same time. Mm-hmm. You drop it on, they've never seen it before. When they come over to look at it, they don't see any metal wires, so it's got to be right? And they have to get it. You know,
this one is what you need.
Yeah, the clear one.
This is the mini one. This is the one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So this one's in the works, but I don't know if we're ever gonna drop it. If you guys
that's like a crappie white bass.
Yeah, it's like a super small one. It's half the size of this one, pretty much. See,
these are the other projects we're working on. Depending on how people want it, who's interested, we may not release it.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably throw this on just your like 7-foot medium heavy or medium action rod with crappie jig. This was built for crappie jigs, for white bass and crappie, and for dropping it on their head and just holding it, you know, catch maybe 5 at a time. That's why I built this. I have a couple in stock, but I never finished it because I don't do enough crappie fishing. Mm-hmm. So if you guys want one, let me know.
If you got the live scope, that's what you want. One crappie jig drop 5 You know, so it can get very interesting. And for Mr. J Vetter 85, shaky head, there's moments in time, especially in the wintertime, where they won't bite nothing but an umbrella. Mm-hmm. Same thing happened on Saturday. They wouldn't bite anything. Like you see them on live scope, they didn't want it. I threw what did I throw first? Oh, I threw a crappie jig at them. That's what it was. Threw a crappie jig for the longest time. I couldn't get bit. And then we threw the A rigs, got bit, or the C rigs, or the U rigs in this case, got bit. And then we came back, and you were throwing a suspending jerkbait. We're really good at suspending jerkbait. So he had it tuned pretty well, and they wouldn't even touch that either. And we did everything: the perfect suspend, the slow sink, the fast sink, the slow rise, nothing. None of them wanted it, you know. So it was like, and then we started chucking these umbrella rigs, and I was like, bam, 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 you know. So it was crazy. That was crazy.
That damn fishing guy. You want one? You can just message us through our Facebook, Out of Work Outdoors, and I'll get in touch with you on payment and we'll ship it to you.
Yeah, we're working on a website too. Eventually, I'll get a website up, but right now there's no website yet. So, like I said, if you want one, uh, contact us through Facebook or Instagram, one of those two, and just message us on there, and then we'll work with you. You can do if you're local, you can do local pickup, which will save you a little bit on shipping. Um, and it is a first come first serve. So after this video, we're gonna post on Facebook, we're gonna post on Instagram, and that's when everybody wants to buy them, basically. So if you're watching this, we are doing a little bit of promotion because we're kind of confused as to where all the viewers are coming from. So if you mention YouTube as a promo code, then we will give you what do you want to do?
$2 off.
$2 off? Yeah, $2 off.
I mean, just tell us where you're seeing it because we don't know where our traffic is coming from.
Yeah. So last time we didn't even promote it like this, and people were just hitting us up from like across the United States. And we're kind of like, well, how did you even find this video? You know, or who told you about this? You know, so we're trying to figure out where these people are coming from, and you know that type of thing. So, yep. Ponds are good as long as the pond's clear. We don't even know it works in the murky stuff too, but when the water, the clearer the water it is, the less effective the A-rig is because of there's so many wires. But if you get back to that clear, then I think they start noticing that that might be legit. Because when you throw a single swim bait, a lot of times guys don't throw a single swim bait in murky or dirty water. We always throw it in the clean water. So if you go to the A-rig or the umbrella rig, when you're trolling something big, it doesn't make a lot of sense if there's too much metal there. I think the fish sees it. Maybe the first time he'll bite it, but the second time around he's kind of like, no, I'm good. He just turns off, you know. But in this case, it represents it. Like there's literally 5 swim baits, or in this case, the quad decker, there might be 16 baits, and they're all kind of moving independently of each other, which is what a real bait fish does. And you see that they gotta go get it. They gotta go get it. Yeah. So we're working on that. Depending, like I said, we're not doing orders to fill. We're just building batches and we drop them. And whenever we drop them, really nobody knows. Basically, it's when he's free, he'll build them, and then we just say, look, our fans want them, just give them what they want, and we just post on Instagram. And we're starting to do the YouTube shorts right now too. So if you guys want to see this rig in action, go find the YouTube short. I already have one of these like running in the water. It looks hella good. That's all I gotta say. And we did that in clear water too. And for the guys that are just tuning in, we actually went out and we were trying to chase stripers on Saturday. We couldn't catch them. Even though I think we saw some on the live. They just want to bite it. So that was kind of a waste. We have a trout video coming, but we don't have a striper video coming. That was a crazy trout video, by the way. Like, when's the last time you see like 2 bass guys go after trout with crappie jigs and like jigs, like actual bass jigs, and catch them too? Pretty crazy. Like the hook set, the jig hook set I had, like that was probably the day I set the most, like all day, like 30 hook sets in one day.
Yeah, we filled in our GoPro, so we had to delete some footage.
Yeah, GoPro mirror we got filled up, had to delete old footage and all this other stuff too. Yep. So yeah, pretty much. So that's what we got going tonight. We just want to talk about that. We're going on 45 minutes now, so I think you got like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So you just want to introduce that. You have any questions, concerns about why we did this, why we're promoting our own products? It's really because of you guys. You guys wanted it, so we're building it for you. There's been so many messages coming across where guys are saying, where can I buy this? Where can I buy this? Where can I buy that? And we'll point it to a certain spot that's out of stock, or point it to a certain place and then they don't even carry it anymore. Or nobody knows where to get it, like the floater thing. Mm-hmm. I still don't know where to point people for that. So we point them to eBay half the times, but eBay doesn't really carry them. There's a tackle shop called Woody's they carry them sometimes. It's not always there too. So I don't like to disappoint people. So we figured we might as well carry them and just sell them to whoever wants them. I kind of helped the channel out too. That was the main thing. The channel doesn't make as much money as everybody assumes we do. We don't make any money at all. We still have to pay for our doors and our own gas money and everything. So when you guys are buying our products, it's basically just to pay for our gas because we burn at least $40 of the gas a week just to go fishing and try to get a video for you guys. So that's the main reason for it. Did I bring the spinnerbait? No, I didn't bring the spinnerbait. Well, the spinnerbait's kind of prototype still, so we're not doing that just yet. But this video live is just to kind of introduce everybody to what we will be doing. So when you see us in like say drilling stuff or working on building some of the stuff, it's not completely just out of the blue and it's not like you guys are just fishing. All of a sudden you're building stuff. What's going on? So I didn't really want that to be a surprise. I want everybody to be up to speed of what we'll be doing in the next maybe in 6 months. You'll see a bunch of videos probably being posted about building lures, dropping lures, different hook sizes that we would be offering or recommending, things like that. So that way everybody just stays on top of things, and we like your feedback too. So if you buy something from us and you don't like it, feed it back to us. Feed it back to us. So far, everybody who's bought one of our rigs has been like thumbs up. Because even in the comments, you have Mark D. He's bought it twice, and he says it's good every time. So everybody else we've ever sold one of these rigs to, they're always like blown away. Like looking at it, they're like, "Hot dang, that is a sexy rig." Because we fish a lot of areas that are the local guys throw a lot of umbrella rigs, and when they see it, they're kind of like, damn, don't bite that for sure. Don't bite that for sure. And there was one guy who fished out of Pumpback, right? There's one guy, I can forget his name, but we've talked to him on and off. It's been like 2 years now. And I told him about throwing this rig, right? But that was still back when we didn't talk about it yet. And we were throwing it. And he was like, what are you guys throwing that on? I was like, just umbrella rig. He goes, yeah, really? So he showed me his umbrella rig, and I was like, no, I'm not throwing on that one. I'm throwing on something different. And he goes, what are you talking about? So I'm like, yeah, come over. So he comes over to my kayak, and I show him, and he's just like, oh yeah, they'll bite that. So it's almost like every fisherman who knows what they're talking about, looking at it, they're like, oh yeah, they'll bite that. And then not I don't want to brag, but like he was fishing, and that was the day he was fishing like 50 yards away from us, and we was just like catching, dropping on him. Okay, we was dropping on him in like 22 to 30 foot of water, and we was just like every drop was like a bass, right? It's either a largemouth, a smallmouth, a drum, and then there's like a crappie in the mix, and there's like a white bass. When the sun was gonna go down, it was white bass. That was a crazy winter day, right? And he was watching us just like reeling up all these fish. And that's why he had to come talk to us later in the day, And then he even saw one. It was like a 6-pounder I pulled up. And he was like, dude, that's a good one.
Yeah, like across the coat, like across the pocket. He was like, man, that's a hog.
Yeah. He was like, that's a big one. That's a hog. And I was like, yeah, I know. That's a big like hog. That was a 21.5 that I weighed in, that cashed. I think it was like $300. Something like that month. So.
Yeah, it's funny because that guy is a local. He fishes that lake 4 times a week because he's retired.
He's retired. All he does
he lives down the road. Yep. He only fishes it during the weekdays, not the weekend, because it's too busy. He said, and he's like, yeah, I catch them there yesterday, and they're on the front side of the pool, not the back side. So when we were catching them, he asked us what we were doing different because this guy has a bicycle on his little tin boat with electric motor. It's an electric lake. So this guy has it decked out. So he's like, what are you guys doing different? I mean, I can't catch them. He's like, well, we're just going over them and dropping the A-rig straight onto their heads with 2D sonar. And he's like, man, he's just like mind blown. He's like, yeah, I just need to do that now. So the following week we meet him again. He's like, yeah, they were stacked on that point. I caught like probably 20 largemouth, and then the smallmouth were on the deep side of the point. They caught probably like 3 or like 8 of those. So I'm like, man, no wonder that point. He killed it the day before we came there.
The day before we got
all week.
He used our own technique against us. Granted, it's not a one-day tournament, so it doesn't really matter too much, but you still want to catch him. And the crazy part is, we figured out that majority of those bass were like either on that 30-foot break or they'll be suspended like way in the middle of nowhere. And I caught my biggest fish was like a 22. I was just drifting with the wind, right? Kind of drifting with the wind. All of a sudden, there's something that's 65 foot down. I drop the rig, 65 hits the bottom. I have video of it. It's actually on our YouTube channel. It's just a secret. No one knows about it. But I dropped the rig 65 foot down, and then there's like, once again, we're playing with 2D here. This is not even live scope. If it was live scope, I think it would be. Basically, I dropped it 65 foot, and then something chased it all the way down there. It wouldn't bite it. So then something just showed up at 45. So I bring it all the way to 45. I bring it past it, and you can see it following it, right? And I hold it, and then it won't bite it, so I drop it. As soon as I drop it, there's another one that shows up in the 2D, and they both chase it like 10 foot, and I hold it. And they come down, and I don't even feel it bite. But when I lift, it was just super like heavy. And that's when you know that he pecked it, and he didn't move, So when I lift, it was super heavy, and I started reeling it, and it comes up and it's huge. And I was just so stoked. That was like the second or third trip in, and that was the first fish of the day too. It was just already like, damn, why you gotta set the standard so high? This bar so high. First fish is a 22, like it's a large amount too. And so that was my fish when I caught. That was probably on this umbrella rig. It's the most memorable one that I have. Where like I said, I caught like I think we weighed it was like a 6 something, like a height 6. It was 22 inches long, but it's in the river, so it's like super skinny. And I caught it. So the story I tell everybody is I caught that fish 45 feet over 60, and that's basically where he was. And that was not the biggest bass in the tournament, but it's still it's pretty nice. Yeah. So it does work. The rig works, and when you see it, you're kind of like, why wouldn't it work? Like think about it. One bites. If one swim bait works, why won't 5 swim baits work? It's really that simple. And you do the clear thing. It's all stealthy. They've never seen anything like this before too. Before you know it, it's hopefully gonna be the next best thing. So it looks pretty cool. Minimal approach.
And yeah, man, we gotta keep these the same size because if you go any longer, these arms they tend to bend down like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they come in a boat that's in a big circle. So, I mean, it's not just the size like this. I mean, we gotta keep it, the regular size, the XL, and then of course the mini if people want the mini.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I might do some special one of these because I know a lot of guys at fish tournaments, they will want to throw the big one, like the double.
Yeah.
So eventually I'll probably make a batch of these, but these probably cost a lot more because they take pretty much double the materials to make.
Mm-hmm.
So these will cost a lot more. And I can make these arms a little longer. This is my personal use one, so I'm tuning it.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yep, that's pretty much it for the products. I don't want to bore too many people. I know there's 17 people on right now. If you guys have any questions about them, let us know because I'm sure we've missed a couple of talking points as to how we even got to this. Like I said, this is like a 10th version, and this is one of the versions we're satisfied with. So we can even push this right now.
And also, Van, like if you're just worried about the rig getting stuck because it's getting bigger. These rigs they bend, so if you put like different jig heads on, when they come over rocks, this arm instead of it rotating, because majority of your regular A rigs, this arm is stiff, so it will get hung up. It will like pretty much guide it like jig head right into the rock. While this one is like your regular fishing line, it will hit your jig, will bend up, and it will not rotate. It'll just come right through.
Yeah.
So these are a little more weedless, but if you want it to be super weedless, just put like swim bait hooks on. like the
swim
like
bait Texas bait.
EWG swim bait Texas rig hooks on with your swim bait, and then when you put your swim bait on, the hook is like in the plastic. And I mean, the hooker ratio on that is not perfect, but there's
still
still
pretty
about
good. If the fish rams it, it won't hook up. We'll be honest, right? It won't hook up because it can't. But if they come by and they mouth it, you'll get it.
Because this past weekend I caught 12-inch bass on a 5-inch swim bait.
Yeah.
On the swim bait.
Yeah, and if you're concerned about that, the video that we caught the hybrids on Saturday, that was not casting to like bare bottom. That was throwing to stumps. Half the time it was all stumps. With the live, you can see the stumps down there. We were casting the stump fields, and the crappie were there and everything. And big rocks. We were fishing bridge pilings, bunch of brush piles down there. So if you didn't run that, which hybrid didn't in the beginning, he didn't. All right, you 47.
Yeah,
47 in the beginning. He threw a rig that was all jig heads, right? It was that's true. It's like every 5 casts you get hung up. But then I never did, so he had to switch over too. So the river's pretty shallow. The river's only like maybe 6 foot deep. And if you're throwing jig heads on there, there's a good chance you can get hung up. So for the guys that are concerned about, hanging up on stuff, Texas rig everything.
Yeah, you could throw these in ponds. Yeah, you could even throw these in ponds. When you Texas rig it, you want more weight in the back and more weight on the bottom. So don't put your weight on the left and the right. Put weight on the bottom, weight on the back, and leave these two weightless. And so when you throw the rig, it will naturally turn. Because I make these heads with a swivel, so they will spin. If you have weight on the bottom, that rig will naturally turn, and then your two weightless one will be on top. Yeah, so I mean, if you have a weightless, you can throw it into ponds. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna don't drag the bottom. You just gotta fish it back slowly.
Yeah, and the thing is, this, like you said before, this is made more for the kayak guys and the boat guys because it is a heavy rig, and I don't see majority of the guys on the bank are not going to throw too expensive of lures, except top water. Top water is the only exception because it doesn't get hung up too bad. Even the regular crankbaits and swim baits that are expensive, most guys won't throw it on the bank, especially if you're around like a lot of wood, a lot of rocks that'll easily get snagged on. They don't really throw it. So this is not really for them. Okay, this product it's a performance product, and that's basically what this line of lures is going to be. Okay, so if you just want, say, a regular umbrella rig, there's plenty of them out there, and that's not what we're doing here. We've already fished all of those, and we said those are not good enough for what we need them to do. And that's why this product was born, okay? That's why the concept of a clear umbrella rig was even thought of. Because if the regular was working good, why would you reinvent the wheel here, right? Why would you think about like the world of wheels, right? One moment in time, it was a rock. And then they made it out of wood. And then they wrapped this piece of wood with rubber so it could, get more traction. So this is basically what it is. It's the evolution of the umbrella rigs that are available. So that's where we're at. That's our take on it. Same with the top water lure. All the top waters that are currently available do not come, especially 5-inch top water. It doesn't come weighing in at 3 ounces. None of them do. The heaviest one you'll probably find is maybe 3/4 ounces, maybe 1 ounce if you get lucky. But we're pretty much gonna do a 1.5, maybe 2 ounce and a 3 ounce in a 5-inch bait. So that'll allow you to throw them so far, So that's why we're coming in from like a performance point. Like you need this lure to do a very specific thing, right? And that's why you would even look at these. Same with the egg thing. It's like the egg thing is, once again, it's an oversized bobber, basically, is all it is. But no one's willing to carry it because they also know that it's a very small window of opportunity versus everything else that they can carry, like the traditional bobbers. But for us, if you're one of I would say you're an advanced angler, if you're already starting to think like this, is there's certain things that the stores won't carry for you. And you see this across all stores, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at, like, in the beginning, they were talking about, somebody asked what's the difference between a medium grade and a high end grade, bait casting reel. If you're looking for a medium grade, a Bass Pro Shops might carry it, an Academy might carry it, a Cabela's might carry it. But as soon as you say, I want a Steez, I want an Alderberry, I want a Stella, I want a Saltiga, I want, that grade of equipment, those stores will not have it in stock. And when you ask them, they might not even carry it as a store. So that's kind of what we're coming in and saying these are our rules. It's at that level. It's at the level of the Stellas. It's at the level of the Steezes. And it needs to fill a very specific high performance requirement. And that's what this is. So we haven't thought of a name for the line yet. We're just telling you guys we're going to be building them. So if you're in it, this is kind of going towards the tournament guys too. If you're in it if you've already paid your dues to fish a tournament, you need to bring out the best, your best weapons, right? So if everybody's all talking live scopes and everything, but you can see the fish, but you can't make the fish bite, then what's the point of having all that equipment? So if you go out, if you already have the live scope and everything, and you present something different, and the fish bites it, that's great. You're probably going to win a lot of money doing that. So that's kind of where we're at. We've kind of gone through the tournament scene, and now we are in the performance lures category. That's kind of what we are. As a channel, you can see it too. We compare our channel to other channels. Our equipment is very different. We speak very different. We speak very performance speak, right? There's not a lot of what's the difference between this knot and this knot? For us, we'll just say, go use that knot. That knot has not broken on me ever, and that's about it. We don't debate it very, very often. And if you meet us in real life, we're kind of like that way too. We don't try to cover up a lot of things that we don't know. We just kind of tell you what we know, and we tell you the reason why we do certain things is because of this. And because of that kind of thinking, and because of the overwhelming response from the fans and everybody, we decided to release our own boards, basically. And so far it's been pretty crazy. We didn't think people were going to order that many. We were thinking 30 rigs were going to last probably 2-3 months, but 30 rigs sold out in 2 nights. Yeah. So that's why. Josh Jones is killing him right now. Josh Jones look at this Josh Jones. Everybody throwing A-Rig is killing him right now. With the live scope forward facing technology. Well, you can't say live scope on Josh Jones anymore because he's with the live scope. He's active right now.
Yeah, it's been like that for a couple of years. Yeah. It's like the cat's been out of the bag. It's affordable. Everybody's buying it. Kind of deal. So it's like, the cat's all over the bag. But other than that, everybody's throwing A-Rig right now. Yep. They're chasing those double digits. They're throwing the A-Rig first, and then they're chasing it with a jerk bait. Usually.
Yep, pretty much. And Josh Jones throwing some it was like a swim jig or something. Yeah.
Well, he's sponsored by 6 Cents too, so he throws a lot of 6 Cents.
Yeah, wouldn't you? Yeah. So for a couple of guys that are coming in late, kind of a quick roundabout conclusion is we are introducing our own lures. They are very performance oriented. So the reason why we say that is they have to do something very, very, very either cutting edge, or they have to be on the extreme side of lures. So this is a great example of it for the guys that are just coming in. This is what we've come up with. We've been testing this for about 2.5 years now. This is the umbrella rig, but it's clear. It's a clear umbrella rig. It is an umbrella rig. It's not Alabama rig, okay? Because I've looked at the patents and we are not an Alabama rig, okay? So that's what it is. You can buy them, message us for details, and you can get them with blades, with no blades. Blades is more expensive, no blades is a little bit cheaper. But the idea behind that was we wanted to present swim baits in all conditions without showing the fish metal pieces. You want to be as transparent, you can say, as cool as we can be. So it's an umbrella rig. It's not an Alabama rig. Okay, it's an umbrella rig. Okay, all right, Jethro, you drop another batch of what?
So this is about 25 of them. Actually, today is the drop day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So from the last batch, you guys were ordering them with a lot of blades, which I crimped most of them without blade, and it'll be tougher to cut them and re-crimp them. So on this batch, I got about 25 here. There's the XL one, XL size. So let me know what you guys want. I could crimp them with blade or without blade, and then I'll ship it to you guys. The one without blade are $45, and the one with blade is going to be $55. Like I said, these arm, these 300-pound full carbon wire, they're double the price of the 200-pound. So I have to go up on prices. I mean, I wish I could sell them a lot cheaper, but I'm not really profiting much from these. It costs me about like close to $25 to make one, just one. Because the epoxy I buy is like good epoxy used for like boat repairs, and they don't absorb water. That's why I use this epoxy. I don't know about other epoxy, but that epoxy doesn't absorb water. They use it for boat fixing, RV fixing.
There's a lot of thought that goes
Yeah.
into it. We bought a lot of things to try to build it with, and ended up not using it too.
So hit us up on our Facebook and our Instagram if you guys want any. I don't really have much of these little mini ones, but if you guys want, I would just let one go for $15. Because I mean, they're $4 I gotta buy that line too. $15 for these little guys. If you guys want to try some out, because I haven't tried these out yet. So I put them together. I mean, if you guys want blade, I bought mini blades for these. I can crimp it with mini blades for $20. If you guys just want them like this with a crimp on the end with a mini swivel.
If you're gonna fish this on like 1/32 jig heads, or small, right?
Or I think up to an eighth would be okay. Maybe an eighth.
Maybe.
But yeah, 32nd would be nuts with these. Well, let me know. I'm gonna have like 3 of these, 3 or 4 of these.
We're playing around with all of them. We'll definitely do more on the top water stuff once some of the material gets here, and we'll get a 47 footage. That's a project that he's been kind of wanting to do for a while too. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna let you guys use some of the stuff that we use.
Yeah.
And like I said, we've been testing this one for a little bit because we kind of the reason why we're letting this go too is because we've decided this year that we're not going to fish the kayak tournaments a lot this year, so we can't just keep it a secret. We're gonna let it go a little bit.
And they're nice. Like
they're real nice.
Like I told my buddy, like it's nice not to share with your friends, because when you have good friends, you want to share what's good. Like good fishing lures, you want to serve your friend like, hey, I want you to try it because I want you to catch fish. Like I'll build one of these for myself, and we'll go out on a trip, and I'll catch fish on it. And guess what? I'll just give it to this guy at the end of the day. But midday, but like, hey, you're not catching anything. I want you to try it because I want you to feel like excitement. I mean, like I said, I'm sharing this with the whole world, pretty much. Whoever is on it.
The other thing is, a lot of times when you buy like somebody's homemade lure, it never lives up to expectations. Even with custom painted stuff, it doesn't live up to expectations. Because ask me how I know. I've already wasted hundreds of dollars on it. I bought a crankbaits that are custom painted, and it gets here and it doesn't run right, or it doesn't it doesn't look just like the picture, or I'm a little bit like down on the quality, or it just doesn't run right. Because I'm a big guy on fake things, right? And then you literally just dump like $20 down the drain because it gets here and it doesn't right. So now just hang on the wall. And then when my little cousins come home, basically just let them have it. So, that's what that is. But this is designed like I was trying to get this point across too. Is we're kind of developing these from the fish must bite it perspective too. Like we're not here to sell you something that doesn't work. Because if we don't throw it, we're not going to sell it. If you don't see it in our videos, we're not going to sell it. It's just that it right there, So we're basically from now on out. If we're going to sell something that we make, you will see us catching fish on it before we sell it. And like I say, if you're a hardcore fan, you've been seeing these in and out of the past year. You've been seeing them in and out. If you're local to us, if you walked up to our kayaks or to our boat, you've seen it on the deck. Okay, you have seen it on the deck. Maybe not realize it, but it's been on the deck. Every time we go to pump back, it's on deck. Every time.
I throw mine all year long. So.
Yep. I tend to only go on good time, but he throws his all year long. Every tournament, you always got a time on to? Yeah. That was every tournament. So.
Stain water, I'll just put big blades on. I'll slow roll like a spinnerbait. Yeah. Off fluffy walls, big rods.
Yep. Pretty crazy, man. So it's been tested for 2 years. And the guys that are testing it, we kind of pick people from different walks of life too. Like the guys that are like we have a guy that's like, really good with high school. Actually, pretty good high school. That we gave him out to. And then we also never really give them himself for truly discounted prices. The guys that have never really thrown anything, just to get their feedback on it too. Basically, we gave a couple of the guys that are really hard with the equipment too. So they can be in up and see if it's failed on them. And so far, we'll be honest, it has failed a couple times. But all those little problems have been fixed. Because, like we said, this is the 10th edition. We're on 4th and 5th edition. We had a couple of minor failures. I had a failure myself, and we even showed it on video, if you guys paid attention. One of the rigs, the arms, the little metal clip broke. And that was something that we had to really address. We've already upsized the swivels, and the way we crimp them is a different crimp now, and that's a technology that only he knows about. So the crimping style was a totally thing we had to engineer too, because nobody was going to share that information with you. So when you're buying this, you're not only buying a rig, you're actually buying a lot of experience too. A lot of experience. And ever since, we've never had a problem, Never had a problem with anything pulling off or anything like that. The early versions we did. But the ones now, you're probably gonna break a 30-pound line before you break it. I've actually pulled on it pretty hard, pretty stout. So this is a question for 47. We got a question about, you said a 3-ounce top water is uncommon. What type of rod would you recommend throwing to make it basically throw as far as it can go, right? I could give you some very general information, but 47 could be like, that's what you know, But for me, if it's 3 ounces, it's gotta be a heavy action rod, right? Heavy action or for a traditional rod. But if it's a surf rod, it might be a medium heavy. But more than likely, fast action, fast tip, extra fast tip. And that's a question for 47. We'll get 47 on.
Yeah, and that 3-ounce motor there is not gonna float.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much a plastic sinker. You're gonna throw it out like 150 yards or 100 yards out to get into the middle of the dam where all the fish are at. And that's before it lands, you gotta already start winding your line in. So when your bait hits the water, you're already starting to retrieve. And this retrieve is not a slow retrieve. So you gotta retrieve it fast.
It's an aggressive retrieve.
So your tall water, that sinking tall water now will, with your line, like when with the light fast retrieve, your tall water will actually come up to the surface. It's like a sinker. When you wind it fast enough, it will be on top. But that's just the concept. Get as far as you can, but your tree has to be really far, like really fast coming back.
Yeah.
That's why we're gonna release a 3 ounce, maybe a 2 ounce, and like an ounce and a half. Because the heavier it is, the faster it sinks. You go, the lighter it is, you won't throw as far, but you can retrieve it slower.
Yeah. So it depends on the days, right? Some days, and believe it or not, some days they want that extremely fast retrieve. Like if you get to the point where we're at, if you retrieve a lure, this is true on stripers. They like to be teased sometimes before they bite it. So sometimes you go out, you walk a top water, a spook or a pencil popper. You walk it real slow, right? You work it. It's like, stop, 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 stop. They'll never bite it, but they'll come up to it. You can see them like missile to it, and then they just die, and they'll never hit it. But if you take that same exact lure, right, same exact fish, and you work it fast. I'm talking like stop, 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 stop. First thing you notice is just a boom, and he's got it. You've seen that over and over and over and over before. So there's moments in time where you want to go slow up, and sometimes you just want that.
Yeah, just to push water. Get them to come look at it.
They come look at it and commit to it. And this is especially true on the Sooner Lake videos we did like 5 years ago. Yeah, biggest stripers out there, they don't want it. You want that more like slapping the water. It comes out of the water and it slaps. And that's what they want. Like if you go back 4 or 5 years, watch
I mean, that's what most pencil poppers do. They
That's
just
what a
head
pencil
walk
popper
up
does.
there.
Yeah.
The every single time they go like this, they throw water this way, and then when they come back this way, they throw water that way, and then you just kind of walk in place coming back. That's why the pencil poppers are too.
Yeah, stripers are suckers for pencil poppers, so that's why. That's why you gotta work the pencil popper extremely fast. And a lot of people don't see the thing is when you buy a lure, they don't come with instructions on how to properly use them. That's where we come into. We sell you a lure, we're gonna give you videos on how we've caught them. So you get more than just one retrieve on how to use it. So keep an eye out for that. And we're kind of probably closing on that. We got 14 guys left. We got 14 thumbs up. So everybody give us a thumbs up if you haven't. And we're just going to open up the free, kind of like a free last 10 minutes of questions. Now, we can be anything. Because tonight's kind of like a talk about anything type of night. So the guys that have never been with us, Tuesday nights, we get on here. We talk about anything. Anything that comes to mind. Any current event that you guys want to talk about. Fishing related, of course. And anything we feel is important to the channel, we'll kind of introduce on Tuesday night. Like tonight, we're doing a performance live. We don't have a name yet. That's how new the concept this is. But Tuesday nights, we talk about anything and everything. It could be boats, kayaks, crappies, bass. We can talk tournaments. We can talk battery packs on boats, how to build your own battery pack. We can talk ideas. We can talk trucks. Whatever you guys want to talk about. Nothing is out of the blue. But on Thursdays, we want to just keep that to stripers, white bass, and hybrids. So that's the main difference between Tuesdays and Thursday nights. Oh, Dan Lowe, that's such a good question. Dan says, I am new to the bait casting reel. I found many right hand, no left hand. Any recommendations? Simple, Dan. Order it online. Every single reel has a left hand reel. All of our reels are left hand, but we're all right hand too.
Mm-hmm. They grew up with that spinning rod. That's why.
Yeah, because we grew up with a spinning rod, right? So spinning rod, you open the bell, you put your finger on it, and you cast, right? And you just start winding. So when we went to the baitcaster world, everybody was holding with their left, right? They set the hook like this instead of hitting the hook like this, right? So they set like this, but they're really like this. And then they switch hands, they click it, they swing it out, and they switch hands again, and then they click it again. And we're over here thinking like, that's the dumbest thing ever.
It's like turning that spinning wheel.
Yeah, it's like turning the
that's why those guys turn it upside down, because they're used to right-handed, right? So they flip it upside down, and now it's you have to wind it back.
Turn it backwards.
That's
you guys know what I'm talking about. I know you guys seen that meme before, But yeah, go order the left-hand reel. You can get them. probably eBay is the best place to get them to. So because the left-hand reels are not very popular, so you might not get the 5 gear ratios or the super high 10 gear ratios, right? But they're always available in the 6, the 7s, and the 8 gear ratios. And a lot of times on eBay, if you buy the left-hand reel, it's actually discounted price because they can't sell them.
Yeah.
The left-hand reels, they can't sell them. So for every, I feel like for every left-hand reel they sell, they probably sell 20 like right-hand reels or more or 100, right? You think about all your friends, right? How many people are left-handed versus right-handed? Right? But all of us, we've pretty much converted all of our friends too, huh? You buy left-hand reels? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everybody runs left-hand reels now. It's stupid.
Even my left-handed buddy throws left-handed reels. He grew up with his spin rod.
Yeah. So I was telling I was it. The guy just bought the house and shit. What's his name?
William.
Yeah, William Best, right? He was talking to me about that with Don too, and I was like, the same exact reason too. I was like, you're right-handed. Why are you not setting the hook with the right hand? And he was telling me that. Yeah, I reel like this, but on the big cast, I reel like this. I'm like, that makes no sense. You think about it, the world of bass fishing, right? Bass fishing is very popular for flipping and pitching, right? So you hold the bait in this hand, and you hold the reel in this hand, and you flip out there. And a lot of, we would say 95% of the bites happen as soon as that bait falls in the water. Mm-hmm. So when the bait is falling in the water and the bass bites it, you're in the middle of switching hands. And then your eyes see it, and your hands feel it, and your hands feel it, and you know it's a bite. And now you gotta click it over, and then set the hook. And I'm thinking that's so dumb. If I flip out there and on the drop, if I feel it, I don't even click it. My thumb's on already. I just thumb it and I just swing it, and then I click it and I go. You see how that makes a lot more sense? At least to me it does. So it works good for me.
Yeah. A lot of pros they learn to flip with the right now.
Yeah, they're flipping with the right.
And then some pros they buy left-handed reels just for flipping.
Yeah.
But most pros are left-handed. And most pros can reel left and right.
Yeah. But that's why. So just go online and order it. I know Bass Pro, if you buy from Bass Pro, you can probably order it.
Sometimes I see some at Walmart, but you gotta look at every single one, and then maybe you find left-handed one.
Yeah.
But those real combos that usually you find for $40, $50, mm-hmm. Those reels are not consistent. So it's a good starting reel. Put heavy when you're starting to cast, put heavier weight, half ounce or heavier, just to get the roll of it. Once you could turn your brakes down and everything and not get much backlash anymore, then you could upgrade from there.
Right. So that's the other thing. We gotta redo that video. I'm gonna do that video too long. I need to update on how to learn how to throw a bait caster. Because I think the very first thing you need to do is know how to flip. Because that prevents so many backlashes. And then you probably want a sidearm cast. The sidearm doesn't have as much backlashes.
And yeah, your release on your bait cast is different from a spinning reel. A spinning reel, you want to release at a 45, while your bait cast reel, you want to release above your head. If you're throwing it, you want to release almost at 90. Yeah.
And the spinning rods, you want to whip it. The bait caster, it's a smooth cast. If you whip it, it'll back.
Yeah.
Especially on the braid. So that's part of it. So, don't worry, man. If you're a broke college student and you can't buy it, do us a favor, man. Just share it on your Facebook page so everybody else can help us out. So that way we can spread the word and help us out. So that's one way to help.
Yeah, I think we're gonna continue with these for as long as we can. Anyway, it's not like we're gonna stop.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, I can't make 300. I can't take orders for 300, so I can only make maybe 25 to 30 at a time. So we're just gonna do bass drop. And then during the summertime, people don't really throw A-rigs anymore, clear umbrella rigs or whatever. People don't really throw those in the summer anymore. We'll be throwing it.
We'll be throwing it.
We'll still be throwing it now. But, most guys don't throw it in the summer times, but the orders might be lower. It might be doing less drops anyways during the summertime, maybe once every couple of months.
Yeah.
But during the wintertime, a lot of guys, the bass guys,
I can guarantee you every bass boat out there in the wintertime has a rig timer. Every single one. They might not be throwing it in front of you, but every one of them's got on. It's the only bait that and we see this time and time again where like you go over an area and it won't touch anything. They might not even bite live bait. Like it's gotten that tough. And you throw a rig through it and it'll bite it. At least one of them out of that group is gonna bite it.
Should search bait on a new link.
That's a hard question. You gotta give us more details on your new lake. So I'll give you like two scenarios, right? If it's a rocky lake, I like to throw a swim bait. Like, I've started doing that